And Aaron continues to spin northward toward North Carolina. I'll show you what impacts we'll end up seeing along the Outer Banks and what we could see here as well.
And because of Aaron, mandatory evacuations for parts of the Outer Banks. We're going to tell you who is expected to be forced to leave today.
And stabbing in Fayetteville. One person is dead, and the WRAL breaking news tracker is there at the scene to explain what led to this. Flood risks and mandatory evacuation orders today in the Outer Banks as Hurricane Aaron churns in the Atlantic. Thank you for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. Evacuation orders are in effect for communities on the Outer Banks. We're talking about high winds and waves that could bring the risk of flooding.
We have team coverage this morning as we track the storm and its impacts. We begin with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking Aaron's path. Elizabeth.
A couple of things that are new this morning. It slowed its forward speed down a little bit, so that means the days that it will impact us here in North Carolina have slowed a little bit too. It's going to be Wednesday night into Thursday instead of more like Wednesday and Wednesday night. Also, it has weakened a little bit in the 5 a.m. advisory. Winds are down to 115. It still makes it a Category 3, but it's likely to jump between Category 3 and Category 2 as it continues to move northward. Still not likely to make landfall in North Carolina, but it comes close enough to the Outer Banks to have some real impacts there. We could see a storm surge damage, some flooding, some strong gusty winds and overwash on Highway 12. This is a look at North Hills this morning. We're looking cloudy this morning, maybe a sprinkle or two as you're headed out, but not a lot of rain. 71 as our temperature. We do have a small chance for rain really on and off during the day. A few thunderstorms are possible late today in our far eastern counties. With the clouds today, we stay cooler with a high around 83 degrees. Coming up, we're going to talk about what we could see tomorrow into Thursday with our impacts for Aaron.
Good morning. Happy to get your day started this morning with a live look at the roads. Right now, we're seeing overall a lot of green on the map. We're monitoring a few crashes. There is a serious incident that we're tracking on Lewisburg Road near Mitchell Mill Road. We do have a photographer on the scene that he saw a fire truck presence as well as police, but it does appear that this is in the clearing stages. Of course, if you're heading out on the roads this morning, be sure to tune us in on the radio at 101.5 HD3.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, we continue to track Hurricane Aaron. And you heard Elizabeth say the storm not expected to make landfall. It is not expected to make landfall anywhere. It's supposed to stay offshore, but the storm will bring some serious impacts to North Carolina's coast. The next round of mandatory evacuations gets underway in just under 2 hours at 8 o'clock this morning. So just a few hours to go. Visitors were asked to leave Hatteras and Ocracoke Islands yesterday. Permanent residents, they are being asked to leave today. That's starting at 8 a.m. WRAL's Eric Miller was in Rodanthe yesterday. He spoke to some residents there who say they're not leaving.
Here in Rodanthe, the surf is creeping higher and higher, and Hurricane Aaron is getting closer and closer. Mandatory evacuations for permanent residents are supposed to start here at 8 this morning. Both Hatteras Island, where we are right now, and Ocracoke Island are under that evacuation order. But despite it, not everyone is planning to leave. Several permanent residents we've spoken with say they plan to stick things out during this storm and are taking precautions.
The real problem is that you're not going to be able to get out, so you have to be able to survive for a few days on your own with what you have. I mean, you may not be able to get down the street.
Now, while Hatteras and Ocracoke are the only places currently under an evacuation order, officials across the area are urging people to pay very close attention to this storm. The forecast could always change, and a slight shift could put more water, more wind, or more surf into other communities here along the North Carolina coast. In Rodanthe, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
Now, whether you're at home or headed to the coast, receive alerts when the waves rise or when the wind begins to blow harder. And the WRAL Weather app, you can select any location and the type of alert you want to get so you can be prepared.
Breaking news. One person is dead after a stabbing in Fayetteville. This happened late last night on Rose Hill Road near MacArthur Road. Allie Kadlubar is at the Fayetteville Police Department right now from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. And Allie, you've learned that police say the people involved in this knew each other.
Yes, Renee, and we saw police gathering evidence for several hours, and now they are here investigating and trying to sort out just what happened, what led up to this fight between family members. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker showing a lot of police presence. This was around 3 a.m. This is the house where officers found a person stabbed around 11 last night. Police say the stabbing happened after a fight between two family members. The person died on the scene. We're working to find out what led up to this stabbing, the identities of the people involved, and if any arrests have been made. Reporting in Fayetteville, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
Wendell police are investigating after officers were involved in a chase overnight. A car that had major damage was being towed away when the WRAL breaking news tracker arrived at Wendell Boulevard. Officers say it happened near the Food Lion and that the suspect ran off after the chase. We are still working to learn more about what caused the chase and if there were any injuries.
We are less than 1 week away from the start of a new school year in Wake County, and today school leaders have student safety on their minds. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live right now, and Carrie to talk more about this. And Kelsey, the district is considering a number of ways to address, number one, safety for students.
Yes, Chris, tonight school leaders will meet here at the Wake School headquarters to talk about changes to their emergency response protocol. This will be Wake School leaders' last meeting ahead of the first day of school next week. This could mean new training and drills on emergency response for students, school employees, and some emergency responders. This policy comes from the I Love You Guys Foundation. It sets 5 measures for emergencies: hold, secure, lock down, evacuate, and shelter. Wake schools already had similar protocols in place, except the hold measure is new. Under both hold and secure, classes go on as usual, but school doors stay locked. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst says this change could improve their current protocol.
One thing that they do think is different about this standard response protocol is that it's more flexible. It gives them a little bit more clarity when communicating during an emergency.
Now, the school system would not be paying this foundation to use their protocol, but school leaders will be meeting tonight at 5:30 to make a decision. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
Today, crews will get back to work trying to clean up this major train derailment in Halifax County. It is forcing cancellations for rail routes up and down the East Coast. Sky 5 video from yesterday shows the pileup of CSX train cars that were filled with coal. All Amtrak routes from Miami to New York were canceled yesterday, including routes in and out of Raleigh. An Amtrak spokesperson says they are working with customers who face cancellations. We still don't know when service will be restored. We asked CSX a number of questions about what caused this. A spokesperson says that is under investigation.
A damaged business at the Eastgate Shopping Center in Chapel Hill. It'll reopen today. Chantal's flooding last month led to a closing. Google Health Bakery is scheduled to open at 8 a.m. today, and the owner tells WRAL the process of reopening, it was not easy, but the staff is excited to welcome customers back. The students say that the past few weeks of Eastgate being closed, it's been inconvenient.
It's just really difficult. Not a lot of things were open. You couldn't get around. You couldn't do anything. A lot of people were kind of stuck in their homes. I just know that a big issue was not exactly knowing that this was going to happen. They say flash flood. A lot of the times it's typically a little bit of rain, but this was just absolutely decimated the plaza.
Now, Trader Joe's reopened yesterday, and with Google Health reopening today, 5 businesses will be back open. But there are still more than a dozen businesses closed.
Fayetteville police have released the name of the man killed in a shooting over the weekend. Police say 29-year-old Wesley Wilson was killed in the shooting Sunday night on Chinook Drive near South Riley Road. 2 other people were also shot. They were taken to the hospital and are expected to recover.
Meanwhile, in Raleigh, police say that road rage led to a crash on Lewisburg Road. 31-year-old Javier Alarcon and 51-year-old Ronald Dingle are each facing charges after the Sunday crash. And the charges include assault and child endangerment. Officers said that they found Alarcon holding a gun and yelling at Dingle. And you know that both men had suffered minor injuries.
The Durham City Council has unanimously approved new plans to redevelop Northgate Mall. The council has been working on a plan for several years. Some ideas for the location include new retail stores and affordable housing. The site has sat vacant for years. Today is the first chance to weigh in on a new project near RDU. The Airport Authority wants to build a recreation and wellness destination on 136 acres of airport land. That plot of land used to be part of Lake Crabtree Park. There will be 3 public workshops on this. The meeting starts at 4 p.m. at the Cary Senior Center.
And happening today, Wake County Public Health is offering families and students up-to-date vaccines. The department is hosting a back-to-school vaccine clinic for rising kindergarten, 7th, and 12th grade students. Today's clinic will be at the Southern Regional Center in Fuquay-Varina, and that will be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's one of several clinics Wake County Public Health is hosting, in fact. The next one will be on September 2nd, and that's in Wake Forest. Folks, just a reminder, WRAL, we have you covered for the start of the new school year. You can find out how to transition your kids back into a sleep routine, the rules of the road around school buses, and so much more. Do that on WRAL.com. Just search the words back to school.
It is 6:09. Boat explosion. Nobody was hurt after a boat blew up while it was leaving the Baltimore harbor. The damage left behind that investigators are looking into.
And it's a cloudy start out there this morning. You might even run into a few sprinkles, a few isolated thunderstorms in our eastern counties later on this afternoon. I'll walk you through the day's chance for rain on Futurecast coming up.
And Aaron's impact, people are trying to leave the Outer Banks to avoid the possible floods that the storm could bring. And so we will explain how roads could be affected.
And here are your winning Powerball numbers: 15, 46, 61, 63, 64. Powerball is 1, the multipliers 3. There was no winner from last night's drawing. The jackpot, $643 million.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13. The skies are cloudy this morning, so we have the top of the tower lit in purple there for cloud cover. We do have the potential for just a little light rain or a sprinkle this morning. Later this afternoon, some of our eastern counties could see an isolated thunderstorm. Town by town, temperatures are cool this morning. 68 in Roxborough, 74 in Fayetteville, 71 in Garner. Notice Cary, Garner, Durham, Holly Springs all reporting just a little sprinkle. None of that's very heavy. Shouldn't be anything that affects your morning commute, but you might notice it as you're walking the dog early on. Later this afternoon, with the cloud cover, it stays cooler than yesterday. Highs will be in the low 80s. I'll show you how many more days in the 80s we have in our forecast. Plus, we'll talk about how it will feel around here tomorrow and Thursday with Aaron off the coast. Laura?
So far, so good for your Tuesday morning on the roads. Right now, we're taking a live look here at 540 and South or Lake Wheeler Road, that is. You can see that things are flowing nice and smoothly here. We are monitoring a serious crash on Lewisburg Road that happened earlier this morning. It involved a pedestrian. Right now, we're told that is in the clearing stages. Of course, if you're heading out on the roads, be sure to tune us in at 101.5 HD3.
And happening right now in the WRAL Life Center, we wanted to show you what Nags Head looks like right now. Take a look at some of the waves there. This is Jeanette's Pier. We do see some surfers taking advantage of these waves right now. But, you know, a mandatory evacuation, it is in order for all areas of Hatteras Island. I want to show you this map here. Red here, this is the mandatory evacuation area. This is Zone A. All residents must be out by 8 o'clock this morning. No mandatory evacuations for Zone B, which is just north of that Kill Devil Hills, that area. At this time, that could change. Visitors were asked to leave Hatteras and Ocracoke yesterday. Hatteras Island residents, again, that evacuation begins at 8 o'clock this morning. Transportation will be available to a shelter in Warren County for Dare County residents who do not have transportation. Residents that don't have transportation can actually take a bus to a shelter. That bus will be leaving Cape Hatteras Elementary at 12 o'clock this afternoon. And for more information on everything you need to know about that, you can go to darenc.gov.
All right, thank you, Michelle. We are tracking closings in eastern North Carolina as a result of Hurricane Aaron. The Cape Lookout National Seashore will be closed today. And the campsite, the visitor center, even the lighthouse close at noon. Keep that in mind. Express ferry service from Beaufort and Harkers Island is canceled, and that is for tomorrow through Friday.
You can always track storms and hurricanes across the Atlantic with the WRAL weather app. Zoom in, find the day-by-day forecast, location, and strength of the storm. No one was hurt in an apparent explosion on a ship in Baltimore Harbor. Video captured smoke rising from a ship near the former Francis Scott Key Bridge site. It was heading out of the harbor last night carrying coal. Officials say the boat had 23 people on board. They say the damage to the ship was consistent with an explosion. They are looking into what may have caused it.
And there appears to be progress in negotiations to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met at the White House yesterday alongside other European leaders. And the conversations largely focused on strong security guarantees in any sort of post-war agreement. European leaders were on the same page about trying to protect Ukraine's interests. And the meeting was briefly put on pause as President Trump spoke with Putin over the phone. Germany's chancellor confirmed that Putin agreed to meet with Zelensky in 2 weeks.
Ukrainians in the Carolinas gathered in Chapel Hill as they prepare for the Ukrainian Independence Day celebration this weekend. Olena Pates is president of the group. She told us Saturday's celebration comes at a critical time as world leaders try to end Russia's invasion. She has family living in Ukraine, and she hopes the talks will bring some normalcy back.
I am hopeful that today's conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine and European leaders will bring some results, and we'll have to wait and see. But again, so far, Russia has not kept their word. No ceasefire, no peace agreement.
The Ukrainian Independence Day Festival is happening from 3 to 6 Saturday afternoon on Ridge Road in Raleigh.
People who need to update their voter registration are beginning to get letters from the State Board of Elections. And this stems from the lawsuit from the Trump administration challenging North Carolina's voter registration rules. Incomplete registrations were at the center of the state Supreme Court race. Republican candidate Jefferson Griffin tried to throw out tens of thousands of ballots from last year's election. More than 80,000 people will have to update their registration. All right, talking about the big weather maker story today, we are tracking Aaron right now in the Atlantic and the trajectory of that storm. We have Elizabeth Gardner watching very closely, plus the effects that we'll likely see on the coast.
What's new this morning is the forward speed is slowed down a little bit, just 7 miles per hour. So that means the timeline for when it affects us here in North Carolina is a little slower, mainly Wednesday night into Thursday instead of Wednesday into Wednesday night. Also, it's a bit weaker. The winds have dropped down to 115 miles per hour overnight. At 2 o'clock, winds were at 120. So the storm is likely to bounce between Category 3 and Category 2 as it makes that northerly turn and moves off the coast of North Carolina. Still not likely to make landfall, but it's a huge storm, so it is going to have some impacts on our coast. Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach will have lesser impacts, but will still have heavy surf, rip current danger. As a matter of fact, yesterday along our southern beaches, dozens and dozens of people were pulled out of the water for rip currents. Let's watch the storm as it moves northward. We'll pause it tomorrow at lunchtime, and you can see how far south it still is. Definitely starting to have some impacts on the coast. Some rain bands begin to move onshore by noon tomorrow. It moves here just off the coast of North Carolina. From Cape Hatteras to the center of the storm is about 200 miles, but the storm is wide and it certainly will push some rain bands inland. We're going to have some storm surge, some flooding. It does move out fairly quickly. By 5 a.m. on 8 a.m. on Friday, you can see it is pulling away from us. Tropical storm watch in effect now for the Outer Banks all the way down towards Beaufort and Atlantic Beach. Winds along the coast likely to be 60 to 65 miles per hour in terms of gusts, but the southern coastline more like 30 to 40. And for our area, we're looking at 25 to 35. So that's not enough to cause very much damage. Storm surge 2 to 4 feet along the Outer Banks. That is definitely enough to cause problems for travel and for homes and businesses. Also, heavy surf advisory, definitely not safe to swim. Rip current danger, heavy surf, beach erosion, especially along the Outer Banks, and parts of Highway 12 along the Outer Banks could become impassable. Those tropical storm force gusts will start to pick up tomorrow into Thursday. For us, our central and western counties, 15 to 25 mile per hour gusts, 25 to 35 in some of our eastern counties. Again, you'll notice it's breezy, but it's not enough to cause any damage. So some blustery winds for us on Wednesday and Thursday. Rain really isn't likely, minus an isolated storm. And behind the storm, we may notice a nice drop in our humidity. Behind this storm, there may be another one that develops. There's a 60% chance of that. And we'll talk more about that later. One thing that we're seeing as we get into the next few days is much cooler temperatures. Our highs will be in the 80s. We've only seen one day in the 90s this whole month. So in terms of our weather, Laura, it's not looking bad.
Elizabeth, a lot you're keeping your eye on right now. Thank you. And we're keeping our eyes on the roads this morning. Right now, we're monitoring a minor incident in the Roseville area, a broken down vehicle on South Main Street. This is the westbound lanes. Obviously, this isn't causing any major backups or delays. Right now, we're also tracking a very serious crash on Louisburg Road that involved a pedestrian. We know that scene is in the clearing stages. So you can see your drive times this morning heading into the capital city. Very little to no delays, and a very similar situation in the Bull City at this time. Very little to no delays. Be sure to tune us in on the radio at 101.5 HD3.
Finding bus drivers. Wake County Schools is stepping up its game to make sure kids have a reliable way to get to school. We'll break down the numbers.
Plus, back to school prices. Tariffs are driving costs higher. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains how you can get a bit creative to save money.
And remember, if you see breaking news, have a story tip, or take video or pictures of the weather where you are, please report it to us. Go to WRAL.com/report it to send your video, pictures, or tip to our news team.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
All right, so Dirty Dancing returns with a new look and a horror movie from the perspective of a dog.
Let's take a look now at what's trending. First, there will be a new way to experience the hit film Dirty Dancing. The movie is getting its own live experience. There will be a band and singers performing the familiar songs from the 80s hit. Dirty Dancing in concert will tour more than 100 cities in North America and Europe starting next year. Went on the website to check the list. They don't have the list for the North American cities yet, but it's safe to say that North Carolina has a lot of Dirty Dancing fans as parts of the movie were shot.
Well, and I already have homework to do because I haven't seen it. So I'm gonna watch it.
Or maybe that live in concert.
Possibly live in concert. So here's a unique take on the horror genre. We are going to get a movie that's called Good Boy. And this film follows the experience of a dog inside a creepy haunted house. The movie hits theaters on October 3rd. I really hope the dog is safe. But the real talker this morning is that one of our production team members said, "Oh, that's the dog from the Sky Rizzy commercial," I'm like, okay, some people know celebrities and some people know dogs. I guess dogs could be celebrities, right?
Right. Very famous. Yeah, I didn't recognize that. But
Neither did fact. I. But hey.
And now we know.
Now we know another famous dog. Well, people are opening their hearts and pets are finding homes during this month's Clear the Shelters event. A Tilted Acres Rescue and Adoptions, or TARA, event is happening, and they're helping animals across Hoke and Cumberland counties for permanent homes. And to learn more about this and other shelters or local events, you can go to WRAL.com/shelters.
Still ahead, deadly stabbing. One person was killed in Fayetteville overnight. What police know about the people involved?
And school safety. Wake school leaders plan to vote on a new method to respond to emergencies. What direction the district is looking at to create a plan to protect your child.
And a couple of new things with Aaron this morning. I'll show you what those are and, of course, the impacts for the Outer Banks and us here in Central North Carolina.